Hey everybody, Mike here. So I got a new product on the bench today. This was sent out to me by HULKMAN. This is their new 5-amp battery charger, which is the Sigma5 model line. So this was sent out to me to try and test, and in exchange I told them I'd give them a review on this and what I thought. So let's go ahead and get into this now. So I've had a couple days to kind of mess around and play with this thing to see what I thought about it. And in all honesty, this is quickly becoming my favorite brand of battery charger versus some of the other brands that I've used. Absolutely nothing wrong with the other brands I've been using. I just think this is a lot more attractive unit, and it does everything feature-wise that my other ones already do as well. So let's dive into this thing and I'll show you what makes this thing so cool to me. So first off, when you receive it, you're going to get it in a box that looks something like this. When you first get this thing in the mail, the first thing you'll realize is how well packaged it is. Once you get everything out of the package, this is what you're left with. The first thing you're going to have in the box is the actual charger itself. You'll have the extension cord on the one side here coming out of it, and then your wall outlet plug on the other. What you're also going to get in this kit is a set of leads that you can hook directly to your battery, which I find extremely handy. Most of your brands carry these nowadays, so it's not a huge deal. It is extremely nice to have this, and I'll explain why here in just a second. They also get a set of these battery clamps. Now, right off the bat, I will go ahead and say on these battery clamps, these are probably, in my opinion anyways, the best clamps on the market at the moment that I've come across. They're extremely well built. They feel quality in your hands. Some of these clamps that I've come across on some of these other brands are just very chintzy and cheap. In fact, I've had to replace and fix some of the clamps on them over the years just after continual use. But like I said, right out of the box, these things just have a very sturdy feel to them. You're also going to get a little wall mount for this thing. And what's neat about that, you can basically just screw that to the wall, and then this dude right here will sit right on that little bracket like that. So it'll look like that on the wall. And they took it one step further than any other charger I've seen before, because I've seen several other of these chargers that have these little wall mounts, but they actually added a spot that you can add your clamps to. So when you're not using it, you got a way to store it. I thought that was a nice touch. Now let's go and get this dude plugged in real quick. I'll show you exactly what this thing looks like. While we're doing this, if you've never used one of these little chargers, these things are extremely handy for anything that you're going to be storing for any period of time. So a good example would be like a zero-turn mower, which is exactly what I use mine for. Another scenario might be like if you've got a tractor that sits a lot during the winter, or maybe has a battery that's going bad, or it's constantly draining down on you. Vehicles that you don't drive every day. These things are really good for everything. And the nice thing to keep in mind too is HULKMAN also carries a 1 amp and a 10 amp model. So if you've got a little bit bigger battery and you feel like you need a little more juice, you can step up to that 10 amp. But you're also, if you're just using this on like maybe a snow blower or something that's got a lot smaller battery on it, or you don't need to charge it as quickly, you can step down to that 1 amp. I tend to go with these 5 amp chargers because they're kind of the good middle of the line, and they charge everything I've got here on my farm. So as you can see here, when you plug this thing in, you're seeing 0 volts on here right now. This right here is the main reason why I think this thing's quickly becoming my favorite. Most of your chargers out there don't have this digital display right here like you see. And what's neat about that is you can see exactly what that battery's doing when you've got it plugged in. And then it's also got some other different modes. So if you hit the top button here, you can cycle through your different 12 volt battery types and or 6 volt battery types as well. So this thing is capable of doing 6 volt and 12 volt battery systems. And you can also specifically set this up for the specs of what battery you've got. So whether it be an AGM battery or flooded battery or so forth. If you don't know what kind of 12 volt battery you've got, it's safest just to leave it on the 12 volt setting like I've got it here right now. Now the other thing you can do is you can hold this button down for 2 seconds. And that's going to put you into the 12 volt repair mode. This little charger is smart enough that it can actually detect whether the battery has been sulfated or has any kind of damage to it. It can actually go through and pulse the battery in a way, don't ask me how, that it can repair that battery back to its somewhat normal state. So if you're not getting a full charge on that battery, this could very well repair that battery and give you extra life out of that instead of having to replace that battery sooner than later. Simply hold that down to go back into your regular mode, and you're back to your 12 volt systems again. The other thing this thing is capable of as well is if your battery is below 2 volts, so between 0.3 volts and 2 volts, you can force charge the battery to get it up to that 2 volt mark again to where it'll actually regularly charge the battery as well. So if you've got a battery that you depleted too low, this thing's got you covered there as well. It'll actually get you back to going again and get you to that 2 volt mark, and you're back on the road. Once you get this thing plugged into whatever it is you're charging, you just simply hit the OK button. That guy will take off and start doing its thing. Now, the nice thing about this thing as well is you can leave this thing plugged in all the time, day and night, 24/7. You don't have to worry about this thing causing any damage to your battery or your house at the same time. So basically what I'm saying is that charger is smart enough that it'll cycle on and off and keep track of that battery, and it'll charge it up to the state it needs to be without overcharging or risk of short circuiting or anything of that nature. As you see here, you've got this lead right here that you'll plug into. So you can take your tape between your clamps like you see here. So if you're gonna put this thing on as like a temporary use, let's just say you need to top the car battery off real quick, and then you're gonna be taking off again. Put those on your battery, plug that dude in like so. This thing will charge up. It'll let you know when it's done charging. You can hop in and go, and you're ready, and that's all there is to it. What I tend to do with these things, like I said, I use these on my tractors and I use them on my mowers, especially during the winter time when they're not in use. So I ended up taking one of these battery cords like you see here. I permanently mount this to my battery, and then I just leave it on there all year round. So I've got that at all times ready to go when I need it. It's got a little protective rubber boot here for dust cover, so you can just put that down on it like so when you're not charging it, and that'll keep that thing clean and free of any kind of debris getting in it. And then when you're ready to charge that thing, you just plug it in to your battery, and it's just that easy and that quick, and it's a permanent solution for your mower. Now, if you've got multiple things you're wanting to charge with this thing, you'll want to go ahead and pick up some extra one of these cords here, which they have available as well. And not to mention, while I'm talking about that, they do actually have a extended version of this as well. You can look at the bundle that's available on this, and if you need more cord length than what's available here, you can buy that one with the bundle, and it'll give you an extended cord, and then that dude will reach further away. That comes in really handy, like especially on my tractor when I've got it plugged in and it's in maybe one bay, and I've got the charger plugged in on the other wall. I can reach across my 20-foot garage with that cord and plug that thing in. But overall, I've been extremely impressed with this thing. I had it plugged into the mower for the last couple days. Mower's pretty well charged because it's during the summer right now, and we've been using that thing quite a bit. It did go ahead and top the battery off. I saw where it charged it from the current state up to its charged state, which is just basically about a volt is all it was. But nonetheless, this is a pretty quality looking unit. I can't really attest to it longevity wise because I just got this thing. Right out of the box, I'm extremely impressed with this thing, and they've got a great warranty to back it if you ever have any issues. That's all I've got for you on this one today, guys. I hope this was somewhat helpful for you today. Appreciate you watching. We'll catch you guys on the next one.